Right here is the king of the night, the one and only true blunt crazy love, Dr. Daniel Akpata. And I still have praise for we're in the house. Yes, and we've been having a robust discussion about family life, marriage, singleness. And one thing has stood out consistently, and it has to do with the fact that wholesomeness is what we need to promote. Wholesomeness. So the question is, are you wholesome? So, Praise, I wanted to go back to wholesomeness. What does it entail? And how do you achieve it as a human being? Someone might be listening and say, wholesomeness, is it possible? As a human being?
I think it was Cosby who defined personal power as your ability to stand with a smile on your face in the midst of a world that has 1001 ways to drown you. Right. That a lot of people, the biggest challenge they have is they are not happy. Right. And you can find that because they don't even know what happiness is. Because how happiness was introduced to them was true things. So if you were crying as a baby, they gave you a feeding bottle or they gave you a tap that we try to do right now. You were not built to tap into the power within you and to be able to look within you and be excited with what you see. Now, wholesomeness is your ability to take a look within you, right? To understand who you are within you, create the serenity within you in a way that everything outside of you have no say in how you feel within. And what that means is what it produces outwardly is the fact that you are authentic by yourself. That if the whole world stands against you, you are still excited within yourself because you don't need them to validate who you are. Now, that is something many people don't have. So people can buy cars and they feel happy. They can buy extended hair and they feel happy. They can get into stardom and win a lot of awards. But when they leave the paparazzis and they get into their closet, how excited are they within themselves to say, you know what, I just love me regardless of what people have to say. And I love what I see within me. I sit with some of my clients sometimes and I'm asking them, to praise themselves for 5 minutes. Very few people have been able to do it for 3 minutes, right? And so they are shocked, especially when I put a rule to say, you must not use the verse of any holy book and you must not say the same things twice. People can't do it because they were socialized to praise God, to praise other people. They were called proud and arrogant for praising themselves. And so if you have not normalized affirming yourself, loving yourself unconditionally, understanding that you are a human being, you have weaknesses, and you are in touch with your weaknesses, you don't excuse it, but you know it's part of you being human, right? Then it's going to be tough for you to attain wholesomeness. Wholesomeness doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to make mistakes, but you are aware of your mistakes, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I know this, I'm not proud of this, but I'm working on overcoming it. But it's not going to define me. Because what people do is that their mistakes define, and that's why they hide it. You look at sometimes when you ask people to share their story, everybody talks about what is good about them.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say that I still bed wet, all right? But your awesomeness is your ability to recognize that I bed wet, and that's my vice, and everybody has got theirs. Theirs may not be bedwetting, may be lying or something like that, but it's mine. And I'm working on it, but it doesn't define me because there is so much more about me than this thing that people are fixated on. So it's that ability to accept self, own self, celebrate self regardless of what people have to say. That's awesomeness.
Okay, so talking about wholesomeness, I see a lot of emotional intelligence
Yeah.
in wholesomeness.
Yes.
Okay, but it looks like it's extended.
Yes.
So what's the extension to it?
So people have talked about the emotional intelligence. I think it was Jack Ma that started talking about the love Q, LQ, which is love quotient. That beyond the emotion, you have to get to the point where what people say really does not matter. Now, I'm not talking, because there's another extreme where you can be arrogant and then you don't care about what people, and then obviously what you're doing is injurious to other people and it's not even ecological, but then you say, I don't care. That's some people manifest that as superiority complex, which is still an esteem issue, but there are no hairs about it. You see, there are 4 keys to what makes a wholesome person, right? And number 1 is your ability to accept people without raising questions. You just accept them because they're human beings, right? Number 2 is respect. So acceptance is number 1, right? Number 2 is respect, knowing fully well that whatever you respect, you attract. That to say that, yeah, I respect you enough because you're a human being. Number 3 is understanding. And you see, that's what understanding is very, very critical, because a lot of the time we project who we are on other people, right? Without seeking to know where is it coming from. Because somebody might be having rage, and then that rage has become anger, right? Because your rage is a higher level of anger. At the level of rage, you're uncontrollable, you can break things. At the level of anger, you are still a bit controlled. So if I meet the person who is angry, I won't know that the person has improved from rage to anger. It's like when someone is worse, the person is now bad. You say the person is bad, but it used to be worse. It's now bad. It's an improvement. But because it still looks bad, you can't see it, right? And so understanding people is to say, where is it coming from? If I understand where it's coming from, I'm able to better appreciate the progress he has made, right? And that's why we say that you can't get people when you stand above them. You can't get them when you stand at par with them. For you to understand them, you need to stoop, right? To say that I have to go low to understand who this person is, what their motivations are, to say that, okay, it may not be bad after all. And I think that was the level Jesus was when he said, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. Because how can they be beating him and they don't know what they're doing? But for his own peace and wellness sake, that's where he needs to be. To say if they knew better, they would act better. That's understanding, right? And number 4 is love. And love, it's not all the emotions that people talk about. Love is first a decision that is built on your ability to add value to someone else, right? So it's about value adding. So when you get to the point where you first understand that the first expression of love is to yourself, say, how kind are you with yourself? How much do you cut yourself some slack? Because many of us, we write ourselves off. In fact, somebody said that human beings are the only set of people who consistently punish themselves for the mistakes they made many years ago, right? We find a way to rope it in. When something happened in our life, we say, maybe what I did 10 years ago. Who cares what you did 10 years ago? There are people who do what you do, you claim you did 10 years ago, they do it, it's a lifestyle for them. And yeah, they've made progress with their life. But we continue to judge ourselves till we self-sabotage. So when you get to the point where you can accept people, you can respect people, you can understand people, and you can love people, you realize that what flows out of you, it's serenity in the direction of other people. And so you are not in that space where you put people down so that you can rise. You are in that space where you are no longer looking at what they're doing. You are looking at why and how. Because when you look at why, it takes you to the root cause, which is what elicits empathy. When you look at how, what it shows is the pattern. And when you understand the pattern and the root cause, you can relate with anybody and you can get by with them. And that's where you need to get to, where regardless of what people are, regardless of their challenges and their weaknesses and their pain, you are yourself. Their irresponsibility does not upset your peace, because regardless of what is happening around you, your peace is intact. And that's why I always say to people that when they ask me to define happiness, I say happiness is creating the heaven within you, maintaining it and protecting the heaven within you in a way that it invalidates the hell all around you. Because hell will always come. People throw hell at you, but then you refuse to catch it because it's serenity that is within you. And so it's a lot of inner work, right, rather than external work. The biggest challenge with many of us is that we are not comfortable doing the inner work, because we would rather have one preacher talk to you, one person talk to you, this person give you what to drink, this person lay hands on your head, than for you to get comfortable with yourself, to say, you know what, I know my unconscious mind knows me, and I want to create that heaven within me, such that when I look within me, I can be lost within me, because in there is serenity. That's what people need to get familiar with. Unfortunately, it's very tough for many people.
But the fact that it's a tough thing doesn't make it impossible.
No, no, no. It's impossible. It looks impossible because it's not become a lifestyle for us. We are very loud and we are very noisy, right? And in our noise, it makes us feel good. That's why we dance. Go to the club, the way we bang the music, it's noisy, right? But you see, the person that is going to lead everyone is the person who is most quiet and most flexible, right? Because without your ability to tap into the inner conscience, we call it innocence. If you are unable to tap in there, there are levels of innovation that can't come to you, right? And so it's something we need to teach. And that's why I believe that one of the concepts we need to teach Africans is the concept of meditation, because meditation is getting familiar with self. Because when you become familiar with self, you are able to do a whole lot more, because you do things from a position of rest. In fact, the concept of breathing is not taught to us. So people breathe anyhow, and they don't even understand that if you can't breathe properly, you'll be susceptible to certain ailments, right? And so people are not familiar with themselves because, this is the person speaking into their life, that's the person speaking into their life. So they don't have time, me time, where 1 hour minimum every day, they are within themselves, or they are familiar with doing nature walk, right? So if you ask people, one of the things my mom taught me, in those early days is she was teaching me how to observe my world. And so she will ask me to go out and attempt to count the number of stars I could see every day. I will go there, I will not see any star. She will say, look more. And I will stay there. By the 50 minute, I will see 1 star. I will see several. I say, oh no, I now cannot see a lot of stars. He said, they've always been there. He said, but a lot of people look, but they don't see. He said, to see, you need to stay in there more. And so what I began to realize that by doing that exercise, I became a bit more relaxed, but then I could spot a lot of opportunities that others couldn't see, right? Because I've sharpened my capacity to see. It's the same way to hear. You need to get into a mode where silence becomes a way of life for you. And that's why the concept of Sabbath becomes very critical. Jews understand it, that Sabbath, 1 day of the week, which you do nothing. You are just within yourself. That's something we need to normalize.
Still late night and praise still very